What's up, everybody? My name is KSaun. Welcome back to the WDL Week 8. We have 2 weeks left in our draft league, which means the playoff push is upon us. As we can see in the standings here, we have 3 teams who have already qualified and clinched playoffs. That is the Ferrets, Strawhats, and the Sheerans. We have, I would say 3 teams, but kind of more 2 teams that look pretty safe for playoffs. They haven't technically clinched, but the Wondrous, Shoopufs, and Bebop's crew, some things really have to go south for them not to make it. However, that 6th seed, that's where it gets interesting. So the Slim Chance Brigade sitting at 9 points, and then the Golgari Swarm, the Sappers, and Soldier First Class all at 8 points. And a lot of these teams play each other the last 2 weeks. So seeing who makes that top cut, those top 6 teams, should be very, very interesting. And let's go ahead and look at the first matchup. For our first matchup of the day, we have the Perfect Storm versus the Strawhats, Unhindered versus JesusLBL. And unfortunately, as I said last week, Unhindered's team is knocked out, is eliminated from the playoffs. He unfortunately cannot make the playoffs based on some tiebreaker scenarios and stuff like that. However, he can play spoiler. He can knock JesusLBL down a peg, and I'm sure a lot of those teams in the upper echelon of the standings would love to see that from him. So let's take a look to see what kind of units we can expect in this matchup. First of all, from JesusLBL, the dark team that he runs is always a staple. It's always a possibility of something he could do. Leela the Bold is an absolute unit. She should be 120 cost. She's that freaking good. Whisper is very, very good and is one of our top assist leaders in the draft league. So she's been a fantastic pick for him. And Golgari absolutely slaps for a 50 cost unit. The other side of the coin, he has a lot of light units that he could use. He could use Evasion team with Starlight, Elena, and Vistral, something like that. He can also run his other light team with Elsrel, Ramza, and Fina, which he's had some success with as well. Unhindered, it's a little more straightforward in terms of elements. He is very, very heavy into the wind element. And then he has a splash with fire. So the nice thing about this group is that we don't have any straight elemental counters, so it should be kind of an even footing in that regard. I think Joom could be really, really successful in terms of tanking here. The question is, do you have enough follow-up damage if you do that? So could see something like a Lucia and Sasha. Otherwise, he always really likes that Winter Luwartha with Zazan combo. So I expect one of those teams to come out from Unhindered. Let's see how this match 1 plays out. All right, guys, so matchup number 1 is one of the teams that I expected to see from Perfect Storm. So he has the Joom Lucia Sasha combo, so trying to get as much damage as possible out of that remaining 120 cost while you have Joom tanking up the damage. So Little Leela is going to pop her slash attack penetration buff, going to run Keen on Golgari, and Divine Shelter on Whisper. This is a pretty typical standard setup, I would say, for Jesus' team. This is something he likes to run a lot for his dark team. Joom is going to pop her Hate, get Protect Shell up. This is almost necessary on turn 1. Sharpshoot comes out from Lucia immediately, crits for 3600, so pretty decent damage. Oh man, but she gets obliterated turn 1. That's pretty rough. That's pretty rough, I'm not gonna lie. But Sharpshoot comes out from Sosha. Leela didn't get to pop her courage, so she is 1 hit away. So if like Joom could get an AoE, she does disappear from this fight, which could be helpful, and that turns it into a 2v2. So can Joom pop over and delete her? That is the question. If she can't, this fight is probably over. Storm and Ren comes through. Yeah, Leela the Bold actually drops. So this is a 2v2. Shadowblade Plus comes out, heals him up a little bit. He didn't really need that. But it does a little bit of damage. Taunting Spell comes out, and yeah, Joom is an absolute beast in terms of tanking. So what damage can Sosha do? She gets the Revitalize off, which means she won't have AP problems. Joom needs to tank a few more hits, though, so that Sasha can kind of get through these two. And my question here is, Jesus, did he stack up Pierce resistance? Did he stack up Slash resistance? Whisper is known as a character who, if you pick 1 or 2 resist types, you can just stack it incredibly high. What kind of damage did he expect from Unhindered, though, is the question. Storm and Ren comes out, drops the agility on the team. Sosha, can you get a massive AoE here? No, she can't. Sharpshoot. Decent damage, though, 2762. And Shadowblade comes out again. Joom's still holding on. But you really think that Sosha, in order to win this, has to pull off some AoEs, because she has to hit this Golgari. Gaff is the threat, not Whisper. He's only got 12 AP, though. Auto attacks, it just barely does kill Joom. If she lived, that could be huge. But what can Sosha pull off here? Is she just going to sharpshoot again? No, she goes up in the air. This should be an AoE. 4211, decent damage, but she's going to have to live these 2 hits. Power Break comes out. Golgari, does he have AP to do something? Yes, he does, because he just auto-attacked. Abyssal Blade Dark. Yeah, that's going to do it. That's enough damage. Man, honestly, though, like, that fight was pretty close, considering the fact that Leela the Bold just deleted Lucia, like, very, very early in the fight. If Lucia survived a little longer, I think Unhindered probably just straight up wins that. Like if she was one space away, you know, like where she couldn't have gotten Delightful Destruction, or if June was able to take that hit right away, I think it could have been a very different fight. So curious to see if Unhindered brings the same team comp and just, you know, tries to position a little differently, or if he goes with something else. Let's take a look. Matchup number 2 between Jesus and Unhindered. So Jesus is actually going with an evasion team. So Jesus probably thinking, hey, that first match was pretty close. I'll try and catch him off guard by switching to evasion and see if he has the accuracy to beat me. However, Unhindered actually made a change too. Doesn't have the guaranteed hitters of Sosha and Lucia, so this could come back to bite him potentially. The one thing to look out for is that Zazan does have Steel Heart, so if he's able to land a charm, that could be huge. But yeah, he doesn't have all the guaranteed hits like he normally does. So Whisper's going to walk up, get the taunting spell, hate up, so she has plenty of hate for the rest of this fight. And Aurora of Blessings comes out, a very good tech from Unhindered. Light and dark resist, so it's good against almost all of his units. And Elena is online now. She has both of her buffs on. Storm and Ren comes out. Wow, that is a ton of damage from the tank on Elena. I really have never used June before. The Vistral actually goes for Steel Heart, doesn't land it on June. Not entirely sure if she has Charm Resist. Javelin Fall comes out and misses the Vistral, hits the Whisper. So you have to wonder, is accuracy an issue in this fight? So Starlight Elena is going to pop the Limit Break. What kind of damage can she do to Winter Luartha? Because I got to imagine June tanks this pretty well. Yeah, June tanks it very well. I would say about 40% health for Winter Luartha here. Shadowless Strike comes out, and yeah, June is tanking like an absolute beast. So honestly, if Unhindered can hit them, like he should be able to win this fight, but I don't think June has the AP for her AoE like guaranteed hit. Javelin Fall comes out, kills the Whisper, so the tank is gone, but they still are having issues hitting this team. Steelheart comes out from Zazan though, and Vistral is charmed. And one thing I didn't know early on in the league is that Vistral's Shadowless Strike is actually a guaranteed hit, or at least a guaranteed hit like from behind or something like that. But he doesn't do that. He goes for the Needle Toss because he can't quite get in range of Starlight Elena. Storm when Ren comes out, a lot of damage, procs the Courage from Elena. Binding Javelin misses again. This is brutal. So Earthrending Pain, 34-21. And this looks really one-sided for Unhindered, but honestly, like Starlight Elena and Vistral could dodge forever. And the thing about that AoE from June is that it got rid of the charm. As I say that though, Zazan charms him again. Vacuum Veil comes out. So she is not able to hit this Elena. She needs her guaranteed hit to be able to hit her. Binding Javelin misses. Oh man, this is tough. Earthrending Pain comes out again. One more of those and June is going to be gone. Unhindered needs to make a play very soon here. Dragon Standard comes out. Wow, she still doesn't have the AP. Did she lose AP from something? I swear she should have more than that. That's wild. I think she buffed twice in a row. Steelheart comes out again. And oh my gosh, everybody is friendly right now. All five are basically on the same team. Stella Maris is going to come out, buff the Joom. Witcher Lortha Binding Javelin finally hits the Vistral. So now is it a 3v1? Can you hit Starlight Elena? Swiftwind defense. So now the big thing here is though, Joom has AP to get her guaranteed hit, I believe. So Stella Mars comes out, buffs. I think she should be able to hit her with this right now. She can. Stormwind Ren comes out. It's going to kill the Elena. And wow, Unhindered wins a 3-0. So the switch from Jesus not paying off for him. You have to imagine that he probably goes back to Dark Match 3. And I'm not sure if that was like a good call by Unhindered or just a kind of unlucky like situation for Jesus. The thing about it is like, I kind of wonder if Jesus expected a different team because Sosha and Lucia have plenty of guaranteed hits, and I have to imagine a couple of sharpshoots bring those evasion units down pretty quickly, and Joom is able to tank them. So I'm not sure if light evasion is the play against them, unless he was thinking like maybe he'd bring the fire mages. If that's the case, then evasion units, as we've seen in previous weeks, can work very well. But anyway, we're going to match 3, which is really, really exciting. Can Unhindered be the spoiler for Jesus to keep him from getting one of those first round buys? Let's find out. All right, so this matchup, different than the original match. We haven't seen this matchup yet. So this is the same team from Unhindered as match 2 and the same team as Jesus from match 1. So the full Dark Squad versus the Joom Luartha Zazan. I am curious to see if this works better for Unhindered or not. I think the first team had a chance at winning, but this always has a chance as well, just because Winter Luartha does kind of insane damage. So if Winter Luartha can like pick off Gafgarian or Leela early in the fight, I think this could go extremely well. Binding Javelin's going to come out in turn 1, actually going to immobilize the Whisper. So this could potentially matter just because she's not able to move forward. If the DPS gets out in front of her, they could be vulnerable. So the Limit Break comes out from Leela, blinds the Joom. Shouldn't be too huge in terms of accuracy because she does have guaranteed hit. However, when you're blinded by Leela's Limit Break, it actually drops your slash resist. So that's painful. Steelheart comes out though, lands the charm on Whisper. So another charm coming up from Zazan. Divine Shelter. So she is apparently, yeah, because of that immobilize, she's actually not in range to hit her own teammates. So that actually almost didn't benefit Unhindered, the immobilize. However, Bells comes out from Luartha now. So she is online. What can she do? But Leela with 49 AP, they are all clumped up. Delightful Destruction. Oh my goodness. This is Leela the Bold, people. Yeah, not much to say. She is absolutely nuts as a unit. Congratulations to Jesus. Unhindered, honestly, that was tough. Like, well played. That first match, I think if Leela doesn't pick off Lucia immediately, like Unhindered could have won the series for sure. But heck of a good series. I'm glad we got a third match. I hope we get some more match 3s later this week. And let's check out our second of the day. All right, guys. So for our second matchup of the day, this should be a banger. Sheerans versus Fire Ferrets. This is kind of a battle for first place, battle for first round bye territory. So if you guys don't remember, Fire Ferrets are in first place, completely undefeated, 7-0, 21 points. However, Sheeran's not too far behind at 16 points. If he beats Turambar, he kind of closes that gap. And the cool thing is the last week, Jesus's team, the Strawhats, plays Turambar and the Fire Ferrets. So if Turambar drops the last 2 games, he could potentially still be the 3rd seed, which is crazy to think, considering that he's 7-0. So this matchup actually really does matter. SurfTaco already in the playoffs, but he would love to get one of those top 2 seeds because the top 2 seeds get a bye. Well, looking at the units, personally, I expect to see some Astrius. I think he is one of the few units here that can really, really compete with the Dark Squad from Turambar. And that's exactly what I expect from Turambar. He could run probably his light comp. He hasn't run the full light comp yet. That's possible. He could run that. But I expect to see Dark personally. I think that's just his strongest team. And yeah, if I'm guessing from Sheeran's, Astrius, Glaciella, Phoebe is what I would run personally. I think Astrius is just the one unit, not just the one unit, Glaciella can kind of do it too, but can eat up and get through the protective things that like Joker and Garble and stuff can bring with their barriers and all that kind of stuff. So let's take a look and see what happens in match 1. All right, first match of this set. It is the water team like I expected. However, it is the full light team. I did expect to see full dark from Turambar, but he's busting out the Camilo for the first time, so this should be exciting. Deep Fortification going to come out from Astrius. Keen Blade from Glaciella. A fantastic initial turn rotation, especially with Phoebe. You have to expect... Oh, Aurora of Blessings, actually. This is, again, this is a really good tech. I think this is something that's very effective versus Turambar. And I say that, I lost 2 out of Turambar, but I think this is just a good TMR, as a lot of his threat is dark or light, and it covers for both. So a really, really good TMR. Immortal Conviction coming out from Engelbert, the Hate and Courage, and Sakura's online. If Sakura hits something, it's going to hurt, let me tell you. So Astria is going to walk forward. Can Phoebe get the Haste or Quicken on him? And which one is it going to be? Sometimes he runs Haste, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he just runs Quicken. So what's it going to be? It is the Quicken. Quicken clock turn. So what is Astrius going to do? He's going to limit break the Engelbert, release the Void. What kind of damage does this do? Engelbert's a physical tank, but Astrius eats through people like crazy. Oh my god. He just popped like 11k damage on Engelbert. Woof. That is nuts. All right, so Engelbert's pretty low. He does still have his Courage online, though. So even if Glaciella hits him, he should be able to live a turn. So Glaciella's going to come up. Triple Piercer does proc that Courage. The tank is very low. Can they kill Engelbert before Sakura walks up and deals damage? So, oh my god, prescient advantage. This is why Astrius is such a monster. And she pops the haste. She doesn't pop Quicken. That is really interesting. I didn't know that Phoebe's AI prioritizes Quicken and then haste. That's kind of strange. Or maybe it's out of range. I don't know. That's very strange. Anyway, he deletes Sakura. Sakura has re-raise though. Wicked Pummel from Camilo is very good damage. Can Sakura get a big old AoE? She's charging a spell. She needs to get this off. Rebel Intention. Wow. Good night. 9,700 damage. Removes the Courage. And now all of a sudden this looks good for Turambar, but Leap Strike does a ton of damage. But Dragon's Blade heals him back up. Holy shit. 7,200 heal. Oh my god. Turambar might actually still win this. Quicken comes out from Glaciella. Can she one-shot Camilo? This is... Oh my god, she can. What the hell just happened? Holy shit, this was like super one-sided for SurfTaco, and then super one-sided for Turambar, and then back and forth. That was... Wow, that was an absolutely nuts match one. I hope the next match is as good as that one. GG. Congratulations to SurfTaco. Let's check out match 2. I think he is the first team to have a 1-0 lead on Turambar. I don't think Turambar's ever lost match 1. I could be wrong about that. Yeah, let's check out match 2. Can SurfTaco close him out? Let's find out. All right, I am still reeling from those counterattacks that happened in game 1. But wow, yeah, the Dark Squad going to come out from Turambar. So All Reliable coming out. He said, you know what? I'm done messing around. I'm bringing out the best team in the entire league, and let's see if it can win. However, Astrius is no joke. If there's any unit out there who can take it out, it would probably be Astrius. So the Chi Barrier coming online for Garvel. So the whole team has Protect and Barrier online for Garvel along with AoE Resist. This team with no tank is so tanky regardless. It's absolutely nuts. Looks like the same early turn rotation going to come out from SurfTaco. Makes sense. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it should theoretically be good against both light and dark. Tiger Maw going to come out. Wow, this is what I'm talking about. That Renell only took less than 3k damage from Astrius, which is just crazy. Leap Strike, though. Oh, wait. Did that do 840? I thought that said 8,400 for a second. That is not a lot of damage either. That's actually incredible. One-shot kill, 3691. And yeah, Turambar's team is tanking very, very well. Concentrated Chi Lancer. What kind of damage can Garvel do? 7k and Spirit down. So Astrius, you are going to have to hard carry, bud. I mean, if any unit can do it, it's you, but good luck. Gloombound Trinity hits the Phoebe, does not kill her. So that's kind of important with Astrius still being full health. It looks like he's going to pop the limit break. He needs to hit AoEs, but he also needs to have this follow-up attack up. So I think this is the right decision. 5,500 damage and has his follow-up online. Phoebe's going to go next. So when does this Quicken go off? It is after everybody, actually. So 2 attacks are going to go. Astrius needs to live these 2 attacks, but the Chi Shot actually hits Phoebe, so the Quicken won't go off. Astrius is going to have to 2v1 with 26 AP. Bulwark Breach, good damage. Crystal Tracer does not quite take out Garvel, but he goes again because of the haste. The auto attack kills him. It is now a 1v1, and he has 36 AP. Who's going to win? Astrius versus Joker. Will Turambar lose for the first time all season? He hits for decent damage. Astrius, can you one-shot this guy? Bulwark Breach. Follow-up attack. Crystal Tracer, 34-35. Can you get the counter rate? That's the question. Do you get the counter? You do not. Stunblade comes out. We are going to a match 3. That was another really, really good match. Honestly, both of these have been fantastic. And I'm really excited for match 3. If you can't tell, let's get into it. All right, the final matchup, the same teams are coming out. I am not surprised. Honestly, that matchup was so close. Match 2, I expect to see the same things. So it looks like the kind of same early turn prioritization. I think this positioning might be slightly different from SurfTaco. It's hard to tell. Turambar is obviously stacking up on the other side. I think probably expecting some sort of positional switch from SurfTaco. But yeah, the King Mont TMR, the Joker Protect on everybody buff, along with Garvel's Chi Barrier. Just a really good early turn rotation. And Aurora of Blessings coming out again. So yeah, pretty much the same early turns, but with the Fire Ferrets being on the other side of the field, how does this change things up? That's the question. And what I will say here is Astrius got more buffs online this match, whereas match 1 he really didn't. I think he buffed one time and then walked up in Tiger mod. So this could actually be beneficial for SurfTaco here. So what is he going to do? Double resist, pierce and missile attack resist up. A pretty good tech considering that Glaciella is in the fight. And Shadow Dance. This physical health or physical magic health shield is really, really slept on too. It makes her so much more tanky than she normally is. Edge of Return only does 2449. That health shield, like normally it would have done about 5k. That's why it did so little. Surefire Burst comes out, does not get a crit. Okay damage. Is this quicken though? One-shot kill. Does it one-shot kill? It does not. 3,400 damage. She honestly tanks that pretty well. But Spirit Blaster going to come out. She lives again. So I expect Renelle to probably take her out here. She does. However, they're all clumped up for Astrius. No, Renelle actually moves out of the way. Edge of No Return takes her out. Quicken is going to happen. He has tons of AP. What can he do with this? He has 100 AP and is hasted. He's no longer hasted. I lied. Unfeeling Void Blade. That is not a lot. You have to wonder, is the limit break more worthwhile in that situation? So one-shot kill comes out. That's some good damage, though. That was better than last turn. And, oh, man, Phoebe with the Aurora of Blessing sitting back on her own self here. Garvel Chi Shot. Procs the Courage. The question here is, does Joker... No, Astrius is going to go first. So he limit breaks. Does this kill Garvel? 3703 follow-up attack? It does. So can Joker hit Phoebe? Can Joker hit Phoebe, or is he only in range of Astrius? He is apparently only in range of Astrius. Gets the ambush. Takes him out. This is a 1v1. Phoebe, can you do it? Does she have full life? She's going to try. Is she going to get deleted in one hit, though? Yes, she is. Man, Astrius is a beast, but Joker might just be as strong or better. GG, heck of a set for both SurfTaco and Turambar. I believe we will check out the standings later, but I believe this clinches something very special for Turambar. And SurfTaco is guaranteed to be in the playoffs, so I'm sure he will try and see if he can find some revenge on Turambar in the playoffs or later in the future. But we got 3 more sets to get to, so let's get into them. The third set of the day, we have JEBAW and the Sappers versus Spike and Bebop's crew. So for the standings, this is really important for who makes that 6th seed. If JEBAW loses, his odds of making it are very, very slim. However, if he wins, his chances are quite high, actually, in making that 6th seed. So can he pull off the win against Spike? Looking at these teams, I will say, I think that Spike probably has an advantage, and this is similar to when I face Spike, but he kind of has the elemental wheel advantage in my opinion. So he has Earth that kind of beats the Ibarra, Ravi, Solir combo, and then he also has Ice to kind of counteract like Summer Jaden or Dario and stuff like that. So when you talk about the elemental wheel stacking up against each other, he does have a slight advantage there. The other thing I will say here is that JEBAW, very similar to when I played him week 1, I tried to use Reflect because I felt like he has a lot of magic threats. Celis actually has Runic, which is kind of even better than Reflect because it lasts 2 hits and absorbs it for your teammates too. So would not be shocked to see Celeste, even though JEBAW has a bunch of lightning, because he has a lot of magic threat. Like Solir can't do anything against Celeste when she has Runic up, and Ibarra can only do her slash attacks or her limit break in that case. So it'll be interesting. Do we expect to see the lightning? Like if I'm JEBAW, I might consider trying to bust out like a Summer Jaden thing. That being said, like his best team as a whole is his lightning comp. So I'll be curious to see what happens. Maybe he'll splash in a Dario instead of Ravi's to try and make it a little easier. But let's get into match 1 and see how it plays out. Okay, so first game of the set. I said this last week, but Luel has been like an MVP for Spike's team. She's actually been incredibly good. So he runs the mixed element team, so there will be no elemental countering here. Luel, Celis, and McLeod. So hoping that Celis can just kind of tank through whatever JEBAW can send at him. And then the McLeod and Luel to rain down damage. We'll see what happens. So Ibarra's going to get her Man Eater and Magic Attack Piercing rate buff up. I will say she is kind of off to herself here. So what kind of damage can she get done because the tank is on the other side. Like, unless Dario has really good movement here or some sort of movement up, which actually he does have movement up. Wow, he's actually running the Ibarra TMR. Can he get forward enough to relieve Ibarra of pressure? Because at this moment, she's kind of in range more so than the tank. So we'll see what happens. However, Luel's walking backwards, so that may not happen. Guardian's Fighting Spirit up on the party. And she's going to pop the limit break. So this is one of the things that can actually hit Celis really hard. What kind of damage does this do? 8,400. Holy shit. So yeah, that's actually huge. I'm very curious. I expect JEBAW to have his magic attacks off. I expect him probably to have light or his her limit break and slashing attacks on. But I'll be curious to see Protect coming out from Salir, so she's not quite in range to do damage. Taunting Spellblind doesn't quite kill the Celis. However, she's very low. Can Ibarra walk up and do a slash attack? She can. Counterman slash. McLeod's almost dead, and Celis is gone. JEBAW's looking very good early in this match. So I have to imagine this is Bolt Surge coming up. And what is Luel channeling? McLeod. Neutralizing Lance. Good damage, honestly. Over half onto Ibarra and Dario, so that's pretty good. Another Protect coming out from Salir, so maybe Bolt Surge is turned off? I'm not really sure. I thought she would have been in range, but Slate Wiper comes out again. Oh man, this is now a 3v1, but Dario walks up and can't do anything. Uh-oh. Bolt Surge comes out, good damage, but they are all stacked up for Luel. Law of Geoabsorption comes out, double kills, and does a good amount of damage to Dario. And this is what I said last week, man. Luel has been an absolute unit, absolute MVP for Spike. That fight was so one-sided, and they all stacked up, and Luel said, don't worry, I'll take care of this. Let me just delete all three of you guys. And wow. Not much to say about that. Celeste got absolutely wrecked. So did McLeod. I mean, McLeod did good damage to the two units, but Celeste got destroyed, and Luel just took care of things. Let's see in match 2 to see if there's any sort of adjustment from JEBAW. Let's get into it. All right, so matchup number 2 for JEBAW. He really needs to win this so he can try and bring it to a game 3 to really keep his playoff hopes high. Runic Blade comes out, gets to Protect Shell and Runic up. And Luel's, I assume, is going to go for an AoE party buff again. Earth and Invocation honestly gets the unit attack resist up. That's all it really does for the rest of the party, but it does get her Earth attack up as well. Same buff going to come up from Ibarra. Positioning slightly different here. Dario is not on the other side. Ironically, this would be the match, if anything, that you would want Dario there because Spike ended up switching his positioning. But we'll see how it plays out. So Dario, what is he going to do? Is he going to pop the Ibarra TMR again? He's not. Wow, he actually pops Sentinel. This is really interesting to me because it doesn't look like he would be in range the next turn. And AI is like really wonky on using abilities like Sentinel that only do it for one turn. I'm actually surprised he used that. He must have a lot of things turned off is my guess, but I don't really use Dario, so I'm not entirely sure. So the Black Rose Helena TMR are going to come up on Ibarra, so get the agility up and the 3-hit shield. Salir is going to target Celis, I imagine. Binding Javelin going to come out though, and oh my god, just delete Salir. So that's pretty rough. However, one thing I will say is that Salir did very little damage last fight, and JEBAW still almost won it. So Ibarra can carry this if Dario is able to tank up enough. Malevolent Lightning going to come out again. Did 8k last time. 8,400 again, so very good damage again. Celis, what can you do here? Cleansing Blade. All right, so 2598 removed debuffs from herself. Really, the only debuff she had was lightning resist. Well, actually, she had quite a few debuffs, actually, from Ibarra's limit break. I'm not sure how much it'll matter, but neutralizing lance comes out. Oh my god, one-shots the Dario. So Ibarra, again, is going to have to do a ton of legwork. She did a lot last time, but this Luel in the back is the problem. Even if she can get through these two, which Slate Wiper does good damage. However, she has Magic Reflex. She could potentially Magic Reflex Luel if Luel hits her. So this is not over. What's she going to do? Curses comes in 3s to break the shield. That is the brand new VC. So that new VC, the Halloween one, putting in work for Spike, manages the 2-0 JEBAW. That's rough. Unfortunate for JEBAW. What I will say, though, is it depends on what happens in the last 2 matches. JEBAW is not out of the playoffs yet. He could theoretically still make it at 11 points if I win my matchup, and depending on what happens in the other matchup. So I'll be really curious to see what happens in those last 2 sets, and let's get into those. Okay, guys, matchup number 4 of this week. We have Dr. Dickhead versus MaechenX. So for MaechenX, if he wins, he clinches playoffs. I believe if he even gets 1 point, it's an automatic clinch, based on how some of the matchups already went this week with like JEBAW and stuff like that. So Dr. Dickhead sitting with 8 points, especially with JEBAW losing. His chances at making the playoffs, I think they're pretty much just in his hands if he wins out. Actually, that's not entirely true, but he has a good chance of making it if he wins out. So very, very important matchup for both teams. And let's take a look at who we expect to see. So first of all, Dr. Dickhead's kind of 2 main options that he runs is he runs either Light of Aid or he runs the Mont, Little Leela, Black Rose, Helena team. He has mixed in Summer Killfay. He did that once last week. And occasionally he'll mix in other more niche units like Ryu or Titus. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he brings. In terms of MaechenX, this guy is really creative in terms of what teams he brings, I'll be honest. Like, looking at his team, it seems like his team is very straightforward. Like, he either would run Earth Evade or just straight Ice. But he's run Evasion Ice before with units that are not considered Evasion units. So you never really know what to expect from this guy. He's done very, very well with his kind of creative team comps. I do expect to see something like Eliza for the sheer fact that she has a lot of range, and on this map, if you sit in the back, you could potentially do a lot of damage from there. And I believe she also has guaranteed hits in her kit. Same with Curry. So I would not be shocked to see Eliza Curry. Whether that means he brings Fryevia or KSaun or Yodira or Victor or Winter as the 4th unit or the 3rd unit, I'm not entirely sure. But if I had to guess, I'd say Eliza and Curry are pretty safe options. So let's go ahead and look at match 1 and see what happens. Okay, game number 1 of this set. So we do see the Eliza Curry like I expected. Fryevia going to come with it. However, Summer Killfay making appearance instead of Black Rose Helena. So interesting decision. I'm not sure. I don't use Summer Killfay. I really don't know a whole lot about her, so I'm not sure like what the thought process is here. She might have high missile resist. I'm not really sure. But Eliza's going to walk up. Warning Volley, 5,600 damage. Pretty good damage. However, she is basically out of AP. Oh my god, but Curry's range is nuts. He shadow binds from there, and Summer Killfay is gone immediately. Holy shit, the range on this map. He is literally in the back row of the map and is able to hit. That's actually kind of nuts. So Mont, what can you do here? Immortal Spirit. However, the nice thing for Dr. Dickhead is that Little Leela Halloween has full life, but she might have it turned off because she did not go for it. She was definitely in range. I think she has full life turned off. I think she's just got her offensive abilities on. Spell Veil Blade's going to come up. They actually do a lot of damage to Little Leela. This looks very one-sided at this point. So auto attack going to come out on Mont. And without that full life, you have to expect this is going to be incredibly difficult for Dr. Dickhead. Frostmaw Barrage comes out, a lot of AoE damage. Little Leela has the re-raise, but what can she do at this point? They're up against 3 ice units with a tank and a wind mage. It's going to be really tough. So Dr. Dickhead's Mont, what is he going to do here? Wow, he's going to get reflexed. That's what he's going to do. Taunting Blade. This was a really rough match for him. I'm not going to lie. I have to expect probably some sort of adjustment with positioning or something like that from him in match 2. But yeah, without full life online, you have to imagine that this fight is probably over. The camera zoomed very, very strange in that turn. Was that just me? I swear they zoomed like crazy far into Little Leela there for some reason. Interesting tech. The Black Rose Helena Limit Break coming out from the Fryevia. Eliza will proc the Courage on Mont, and you have to assume Curry will take care of him, which he will. And now it is simply just a 3v1, the slow bleed here for Dr. Dickhead. So, this match is probably over. I don't want to... oh my god. That was actually a ton of damage. Holy cow. She just like straight kills Curry for nothing. Almost 7k. Considering the elemental disadvantage, that is a lot of damage. But what I was going to say, guys, if you guys are liking this content, please hit like and subscribe down below. I really do appreciate it. I put a whole lot of time and effort into these videos. It takes me a while to make all the graphics and do the filming for each video each week. I enjoy doing it, and I really appreciate everybody who watches it, but yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying watching this content too. Another reflex coming out from Eliza. I'm not sure how much it matters here. I mean, it could matter. I don't know how much damage that does, but the full life's going to come out on Curry, and yeah, this is looking really rough. So Eliza, what can you do here? Maddening Arrow is going to take Little Leela Halloween out. I think we all knew what was going to happen in that match after Summer Killfay went out, basically turn 1. The question here is, what kind of positioning changes can Dr. Dickhead make, or does he just completely switch his team comp? Because the fact that Summer Killfay ran out ahead and was able to be picked off when Mont wasn't in range was brutal for his team. I do also wonder, in case that happens, do you turn full life on for Little Leela Halloween? That's the question. But anyway, we'll see if he changes up his team comp or positioning and see what happens. And let's get into match 2. Okay, guys, matchup number 2 here. So Dr. Dickhead electing to stay with the exact same team that he brought for match 1. And it looks like he's just trying to make a positional change. So he's hoping that Mont will take the hits on turn 1 rather than one of these 2 units. And let's see if this change pays off for him. So Little Leela going to pop the Zombie Re-Raise, the Halloween Ryu TMR. Eliza's going to go first. Is she going to attack or pop bells? She goes Warning Volley. Almost 9k onto Leela. Thankfully for her, she has Re-Raise. But Curry's going to go next. Can he reach Mont, or is he just going to go for her right away? Frostmaw Barrage. Little Leela is dead on turn 1 again. Oh my goodness. This map for MaechenX is phenomenal. That is really unlucky for Dr. Dickhead, I gotta say. So Mont going to go next. What can he do? Killer Drain Blade. That is not a lot of damage on Freyavia. And the biggest kicker here is that Summer Killfay is Frostbitten. So she Constricting Cleaves, and she is now basically out of AP and doesn't have a way to get it. This is absolutely brutal. The setup from MaechenX, incredibly well done here on this map. So Shadowbind's going to come out, takes out the Summer Killfay, and this is an early 3v1. And unfortunately, this match looks even more one-sided than the first one. What can Prince Mont do here? Prince Mont of Leonis. Everybody's rooting for you here, buddy. Hope you can turn this 3v1. Good luck. If you have 15 charges of Killer Drain Blade and the other units magically run out of AP, you might have a chance, bud. So Dragon's Pride comes out. Wait, did that just happen? Did she just buff right in his face instead of hitting him? That was really strange. Why did she do that? Is her AI really that like that? That's actually kind of awesome. I know she will like heal and barrier and stuff like that, but I didn't know she would pop like Dragon's Pride rather than auto attacking. That's actually incredible. So Eliza, what can she do? Warning Volley. A lot of damage is what she can do. Mont doesn't even have courage up, and wow. GG. Congratulations to MaechenX. You have officially clinched playoffs, so good job on the set. Dr. Dickhead, sitting at 8 points, is not out of the playoffs technically. If I win my set, he has a chance to make it. So this last set is going to be really, really interesting in terms of who makes the playoffs. Let's get into it and talk about it. All right, guys, final set of the day. It is Sandrooster and the Slim Chance Brigade versus me and Soldier First Class. So this matchup is really, really spicy, and I think it's really, really cool because whoever wins this set, for example, if Sandrooster wins this set, he is guaranteed in the playoffs, and I am guaranteed out. If I win the set, I have an extremely high chance of making it, and everything is like in my ballpark. Like if I win this week and take, I think, even a point next week, I'm guaranteed to make playoffs. So the matchup here is really, really interesting. And this is kind of to determine like who makes it. It's also interesting because 2 other teams are kind of rooting for me in this situation, even though they don't know it. Dr. Dickhead and JEBAW are both kind of rooting for my team because if Sandrooster wins, they are out. If I win, they both have a chance because if Dr. Dickhead beats me next week, he could make it, or if JEBAW wins and I lose, he could make it. So it's really, really interesting. If Sandrooster wins, it's over. If I win, it's me and 2 other teams who could potentially make it. So yeah, this is really, really heat. This is really, really cool. Taking a look at the units to see what the matchups are. First thing I will point out is that the big giant piercing elephant in the room is Oberon Heimler. So he is very, very scary. He just brings a ton of damage towards my team. Obviously, he has the elemental advantage towards a large chunk of my team. He has a guaranteed hit, so he is able to hit dark units, like if I decide to bring Dark Evasion. And the thing that I kind of have to counter that elementally is Gargus and Helena. Helena, through testing, what I saw was that it's just really, really hard to get her to be an offensive unit. You basically have to turn like everything off. Otherwise she just kind of won't do it. So really, like, the big answer to Oberon for me is Gargus. So the question to me comes down, do I think he's going to bring Oberon round 1? And if he does, do I have another team that I think can beat Oberon without bringing Gargus, or do I just bring him? You know, there's a lot of questions, a lot of mind games in this setup here. So looking at his team, he has a ton of magical threats. And basically the way his team works, he will always have at least one magical threat in his team that he brings no matter what. Like, there's literally no way that he can make a team without some sort of magical damage. Unless he just goes like full physical murmur, which, like, even then she still has like jamming thrust and has magical threat. So in my opinion, I felt like Naya was pretty good in this setup because she has White Mage. She's able to heal from a long way away. She has Reflect that's really good against Skahal, Silma, Ishtola, Murmur, Terra, and very, very good against Summer Key Tone. So I felt like for only 40 cost, Naya was a really good pick for me. So you will see that match 1 I end up bringing her. And my other options of what I thought I could do was I could bring something like Charlotte and Gargus, or I could bring the Dark Evasion, or I could bring Cloud Charlotte. My reasoning behind that was I felt like Cloud has enough damage to eat through anybody in his team, even with an elemental disadvantage. Like, I feel like given the right abilities, he can probably two-shot Oberon. And against anybody else, I know he can two-shot them for sure, was my thought. So that's one of the options. The other thing is the Dark Evasion. I thought about going Dark Evade and basically baiting in the fact that he doesn't have a super accurate team, but he has a team with guaranteed hits. So if he brings Oberon, I could bring Evasion, pump up Earth and Pierce Resist, and then force him to use his magic attack guaranteed hits, which then I could reflect back. So I thought about doing that. I had a lot of different thoughts here, a lot of different options, but let's take a look and see what I ended up bringing for the first match. Okay guys, so taking a look here at the team that I decided to bring for match 1, I was between kind of two teams, and that was basically the Dark Evasion with Naya and this team, the Lightning with Naya. And ultimately I decided to go with this team because in testing, I tested a lot of matches versus Spike actually, because he has an Oberon. And in testing, I felt like Charlotte could actually tank Oberon fairly well with the stuff I gave her. And my thought was that if I can get Cloud in the correct position, that he should be able to basically just delete everything on his team, as long as he's not getting hit by AoEs and stuff like that. And Naya, as I said before, I have her in here because I think Reflect is very beneficial. And if I see a team that's basically, I'm only scared of the physical threats, I could just switch to Protect instead of Reflect and see how that ends up working out for me. So what I ended up doing here was I tried to pump the attack stat as high as I possibly could for Cloud. So that is why you're going to notice that I have Scorpion Sentinel in the main and I have Ifrit in the sub. I think Cloud's attack stat here is something like 1750 or something crazy. Like it's very, very high. So he's going to do a ton of damage here. I have the Fenrir Esper here just in case he does decide to go with a mage team. It actually has a little bit of, like, I think magic resist and fire resist on it at the moment. And then I have the Golem Esper for Charlotte because it has Earth and Pierce resist. Have Brigandine, also the Elf's Cloak. And funnily enough, I figured if he brought Oberon, he would probably also bring Agrius. And because of that, Agrius with her Limit Break has a threat to confuse. Well, Golem has 25% confusion resist and Elf Cloak has 25% confusion resist. So by stacking these two, if Charlotte gets Limit Breaked by Agrius, she will not get confused no matter what, which is very, very beneficial to me. Other than that, I popped the Kane's Dragoon TMR on Cloud because I felt like he needed to get as many turns as possible for this to work out. I felt like this team comp should be very, very successful against almost everything he brings, unless he brings Oberon and Agrius, and if he brings that, I felt like I at least had a chance to win, especially if I can get like one reflex. In testing, like I was winning some matches, not all of them. But I felt like I at least had a chance if I see that team, and if I see a lot of his other teams, I felt like I had a good shot. So this is the team that I brought, and let's see how it works out for me. Okay, so the first thing I want to say here is that he does bring the Agrius Oberon team. This was kind of the team that I didn't want to see very much. However, like I said, I tested it in practice, and I did win some of these matches. So I'm not super alarmed when I see this. The one thing I changed when I saw this in unit select, was that I turned reflect off and turned protect on for Naya. And I had moved her to the first slot in my party rather than the second to show basically not necessarily what other units I was bringing. I wanted him to see Naya and not know who the other two were, whether it was Dark Evade or Lightning or stuff like that. So she pops Boon of the Lion, gets area attack resist up on Cloud, and Cloud already popped his AoE buff as well. Charlotte gonna walk up here though, gets her first buff off, but I don't like this. I really wanted her to get 2 buffs off before she gets hit. 8-path Dragonshine comes up, and even though she doesn't get that second buff online, it only does 4,600, so she actually took that limit break like a champion. So now the biggest question is, can I get Naya down there to heal her up? Because 2 limit breaks have now been popped. She is at about 40% health, and this is looking not that bad for me at this point. So Charlotte, however, is going to go before Naya, Glorious Armor, and she's going to walk forward. At this point, I'm pretty sure that Naya should be able to get in range of heal and stuff like that. I am wrong, and she's actually going to channel protect on herself here instead of Cloud. This was a mistake by me because I switched Naya to the first slot last minute rather than leaving Cloud first. And normally she walks down and protects Cloud, so that she is in range to like now do something on the follow-up turn, but now she's actually sitting back on her own, which is not what I wanted. Hell Bullet comes out. Cloud actually takes that like a champion. So he's going to walk up. He's going to pop the limit break on Agrius. What kind of damage can this do? A ton. 72. So this is why I said I want to bring Cloud, because I felt like he could 2-shot anybody on Sandrooster's team. Naya, unfortunately, is not in range to pop a full life. However, she magic reflexes the jamming thrust for Murmur, which is really, really nice. I don't think that would have killed her in one shot, but it's always possible. So it makes Oberon step over and halting spear her. So at this point, it's a 3v1. However, Cloud has pulled crazy things off before. Mega Slash kills the Agrius, gets Murmur very low, and he still has haste up for one more turn. Can he live this hit from Oberon is the question. So Cloud gonna move out of the way, auto attack the Murmur, and what kind of damage does this do? 11k. So Cloud is gonna get bopped. I lose match 1, and in hindsight looking at this, I probably should have assumed he was just going to run Oberon. However, in testing, I was having difficulty figuring out a setup with Gargus to do like a ton of damage in my first initial setups. So I decided to go with this team because I felt like it covered the most options. And as you saw in that fight, if Naya was in better position after first turn to basically heal Charlotte after that first rotation of abilities, I think I probably have a really good chance at winning that fight, because Charlotte actually tanked the damage very well. And if Naya could have healed her to full, like that fight is very, very different. So my fault on the positioning on match 1. I do think that if I ever see this team again, I could potentially beat it with this team. It is possible. But let's go ahead and look at my comp for match 2 and decide and see how I decided to switch it up. Okay, guys, so for matchup number 2, with my playoff hopes on the line, I am throwing all of my playoff hopes into Gargus, a 80 cost selection unit. And the reason I'm doing that is because in testing, this is the one comp that I made that could consistently, like 100% of the time, beat the Oberon and Agrius comp in testing. So I decide, you know what? Sandrooster is normally a person who switches up his comp after match 1. However, I'm not convinced that he thinks Gargus can beat the Oberon comp. So I think he is probably going back to the Agrius Oberon setup, and that he will change it for match 3 if I can show that he can beat it. Normally, that is not how he thinks. I think he knows that that's how he normally doesn't think or whatever. So this is what I decide to go with. So I have the Black Rose Helena TMR on Gargus so that he can pop the shield, because in testing, he actually gets one-shot by Oberon from the other side of the map, which is crazy. Even with the elemental disadvantage, Oberon can one-shot him, but he can't do it with the shield online. This also helps with getting the agility up, because Gargus, even though he can do a lot of damage, his agility is not high. It's very, very low. I now have zombie re-raise on Naya, so that if she dies due to an AoE, she can still come back, get an AoE heal on the party, or hopefully full life and stuff like that. With her master ability 2, she now actually has 2 uses of full life, which is very, very nice. So yeah, anyway. I have Valifor Esper on her. Honestly, I only have 2 like resonances on Espers on her, and normally I run Bahamut on her, but I had to use it on Gargus, so I ended up just using Valifor on her. That wasn't like a super important decision as to why I did that. I'm running an AoE resist card on the party. I'm running the Typhon VC on Gargus to try and pump that magic damage up as much as I possibly can. And I also have a sub VC magic, the MR card actually. This is to get his activation time down, just to make sure that I'm one tick casting all of his spells basically. So he has Bahamut to try and do as much damage as possible. Charlotte has the Golem Esper just in case. Like I said, if I do run into Oberon, that's kind of what I'm hoping to see at this point. She can tank it very well. And this is the setup. So let's see how it works out in match 2. Okay, so matchup number 2 with my playoff hopes on the line. I put my faith in Gargus. I do not see the Oberon. I see nothing but lightning plus a murmur. So Esther and Skahal coming out. Not at all a team I prepped for, and I'm just hoping that this team can come through for me. So Charlotte's going to get Attract Wall up, get all those debuff resistances and the hate. Skull gonna walk up and he's gonna do a damage immediately. Thundaga Disposer, 3,500 damage, not a ton of damage, but a little bit, and does drop that lightning resist for Charlotte, which I don't love. So Gargus gonna pop the shield and walk forward, re-raise onto Naya. This is the one thing about her AI, is that she will do that before casting Reflect. So I'm hoping that she can get Reflect up before Skahal goes again, because in my head, I think if she gets Reflect up, Skahal might just kill himself with his next attack. So Esther gonna walk up, pop bells, and she is now has plenty of AP and she is in range. Lightning Strike comes out, 2,900 damage, actually really respectable from the Charlotte here. So Naya should channel Reflect on Charlotte. I don't love that she's walking forward here. But she does do that to try and channel. Does her cast go off before Skahal's? It is going to, and now Gargus is going to channel. So Reflect onto Charlotte. Skahal's going to hit the Energy Buster. 6,400 damage, kills the Naya, re-raises, but almost kills himself. Just barely survives. And Gargus, with Murmur having hate, I believe, actually goes for the flare on her. And Sandrooster actually told me that Murmur has 100 magic resist in this fight, which is pretty crazy. So Bunny Bolt Blitz gonna come out on the team. What kind of damage is this gonna do? It's gonna kill the Naya, do really respectable damage to the Charlotte. Charlotte gets quick action up. Doesn't quite help her go next. Murmur can't get damage off though. So what can Charlotte do? You can see Murmur has hate, so she cannot go kill the Skahal, which is unfortunate. So now I'm hoping that Gargus can get this attack off. If he can get a massive AoE, this could be fantastic for me. Casting time is going. Skahal's going to go Thundaga Disposer, and I'm quickly realizing that I must have screwed something up with my casting times, because this appears to be a 2-tick cast, not a 1-tick cast. He does not get the attack off, does not kill the Skahal. Esther kills Gargus. And unfortunately, I lose the matchup. So unfortunately, my playoff chances are done. I will go into it a little bit further into the video when we talk about the standings, just my general thoughts about my team and different things like that. But hands off to Sandrooster. Congratulations on the 2-0 win. And let's talk about the stats and standings with only one more week left in the regular season. So after week 8, we have the kill leader being Joker. This is pretty standard. Joker is pretty much always right at the top when it comes to the kill leaderboard. He has 20 with 1.33 kills per match. Lilo the Bold, Astrius, Garvel, Luel, Ibarra, Black-Robed Witch Helena, Eliza, Terra, and Cloud, making the rest of the list here. In terms of KDA leaders, Ketone is still at the top. Ketone was not used this week, so it did not change. 9 kills, 1 death, and 8 assists, so that's 17 KDA. Luel jumping up to number 2, though, with a couple of really, really good performances by her. Joker, Lilo the Bold, Sakura, Lorenzo, Oberon Heinler, Winter Victoria, Astrius, and Renelle. Shoutouts to the Firefarers. I always say this pretty much every week, but he has 5 units on the top 10 KDA leaderboards. Just really, really impressive. And honestly, with an 8-0 record, it's just really, really good. I mean, his teams are fantastic. He's a good player. Hats off to Turambar. And lastly, for the assist leaders, Phoebe is back up on top with 31 assists and 2.38 assists per match. That is an absolutely nuts stat because I don't think she has any kills this season. She might have 1. But given that, that means every match that she's brought, like Ed Sheeran's get 2.38 kills. So like that means most of the matches she's brought, he just straight up wins, or it's like a really, really close match, even if he doesn't win. That's just really impressive. Renelle, very similar, 31 assists also, but only 2.21 per match. Whisper at 30, and then there's a pretty steep drop off from there. Joker, Garvel, Glaciella was at Gafgarian, Nasha, Eliza, and Naya with the rest of the assist leaders. So the last thing to talk about this week is the standings after week 8. And if you guys are noticing what this little graphic is down here, I decided to include this. This is just a little spreadsheet that I made that basically shows who beat who throughout the season and stuff like that. So as you can see, the left side is basically the player you're looking at. And so if Turambar beats Spike, he got 3 points. And the other side of it, you can look and say, oh, Spike versus Turambar, he got 0. Just kind of like that. Not to rub it in Spike's face there, but that's basically how that graph works. And looking at the standings, unfortunately, with 1 week left, we have all of the playoff spots clinched. So with 1 week left in the regular season, there's no kind of mystery as if somebody could push to try and make that top 6. It is over in that sense. However, seeding definitely matters. I have went over this prior, but the top 2 seeds are incredibly important. It is a top 6 single elimination bracket, and each matchup is a best of 5 set instead of a best of 3. But if you lose that set, you're out. So top 2 seeds have a bye. So you are automatically basically just guaranteed a win in the first round, which is really, really important. And the higher seed in this set of 5 picks the map for match 1, match 3, and match 5. The loser picks for match 2 and 4. So basically you are guaranteed no matter what to pick 2 of the maps out of the 3. And then if it goes to more, matches, you could potentially have up to 3 map choices compared to 2. So it is an advantage to be the higher seed in that bracket. And the bracket essentially works. Top 2 are buys. The 1 seed will play whoever wins out of 4 and 5, and the 2 seed will play the winner of 3 and 6. Now, again, going into this last week, these standings could change, and it'll be very, very interesting. JesusLBL currently holds the 2nd seed, which would be good for a first round bye. However, wouldn't you know it, his opponent is Turambar. So he plays the 1st seed the very, very last week. So if he loses, SurfTaco or MaechenX could theoretically jump him in the standings. Taking a look here, so Ed Sheeran's SurfTacos plays Spike. So again, a really, really juicy matchup. Spike is only 2 points behind SurfTaco. He could potentially jump SurfTaco in the standings. So like SurfTaco could end up anywhere between the 2 seed or the 5 seed. So I think it'll be really, really cool to see this last week. There will probably be a couple of matches that might just be a little more for fun, but some matches that will be really, really important for standings and stuff like that. So some general thoughts before I let you guys go on my team, on how the league went and all that kind of stuff. I just want to share this with you guys a little bit. I thought about doing like an actual like video for this, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I just kind of want to talk about some general thoughts I have on this league. First of all, I think this league was really, really cool. And I think for like just like a trial, as a not having ever done something like this before, I feel like it's been a pretty good success. Obviously, like the viewership and stuff like that is not as large as some of my other videos, which I 100% fully expected. This is not content for everyone out there in the War of the Visions community. These are for people who really, really enjoy PvP, people who really enjoy seeing some lesser used units or not seeing the exact same team comps in every single match. So in that regard, I think this league has been a success. It's been really, really fun to do. And I don't know, it's just been really, really cool. This has been one of the coolest things that I think I've started or made or anything like that. And I'm excited to see it through. So in terms of my team, some general thoughts that I have, I definitely think I made a couple of probably like poor decisions in my draft. I remember when I watched my draft league video back, and I took Liarte in round 2. I brought her to like 2 matches, I think, all season. And every time like I looked at the matchup against somebody else, she just felt really underwhelming. Another thing that I think I prioritized too high, like if I could go back in time, and the reason I did this, I took Charlotte in round 3, and that was partially because I took Liarte, and I thought that Charlotte and Liarte would be really good together to pair with Cloud. And in hindsight, I think it would have been so much better to go a lower cost tank, because it gives me so many more options for offensive units. Like when it came down to it, unless it was the perfect matchup, I almost never wanted to use a Gargus, for example, unless I was against that Oberon, which, spoiler alert, we played a for fun match after, and I played against the first team that he made. The Gargus team did actually win, so it did work for what I was trying to make it for, but I didn't see the correct matchup. But to kind of get back onto my team, I guess what I'm saying is like, I definitely think I learned from some of the mistakes I made in draft, And I think I kind of handicapped myself going into some of these matchups. I remember saying in the draft video that I thought my team was kind of S tier. And I think that was just bias looking at my own team. I think a lot of the other teams that I talked about saying they were S tier were examples. I said Jesus as soon as Final Fantasy Tactics hit, Turambar's team, and MaechenX's team. Well, wouldn't you know it, three out of those, or those three teams are, you know, 1 seed, 2 seed, and tied for 3rd seed. So I think some of my, analysis was really spot on, except for when it came to my team. And I really felt like most of the weeks going into matchups, I felt as if though I was disadvantaged. Like I felt as if though the other team had the advantage in the matchup, except for a couple of very specific situations. I felt like I had the advantage against Unhindered, and that wasn't because like his team was bad. That was just because of the way that the units like matched up together. I felt like I had an advantage. I felt like I'm trying to think. I'll be curious to see what happens the final week. I actually feel like my team has an advantage over Dr. Dickhead's team just because of the type of units that he has. I could be completely wrong and I could eat my words and get absolutely deleted by him. But I know this is just kind of a ramble, but I kind of wanted to do this because even though there is one more week in the regular season, there's obviously the playoffs. I play one more game, but this is kind of the end of my season because I know I'm not making the playoffs. And I play Dr. Dickhead next week, who is also not in the playoffs. I'm not sure how that matchup will go. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I just wanted to say I had a lot of fun doing this and definitely made some mistakes. I think I learned a lot from this, and I hope you guys just enjoyed the content. So I'm sorry if I just rambled for the last 3 or 4 minutes, but just kind of wanted to talk a little bit. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Look forward to the last week, next week, the regular season, and then the playoffs will start right after that. So anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.